Hello everyone and welcome to World Trade Wednesday, where we talk about Laredo's impact on world trade and World Trade's impact on Laredo, Texas. I am here today with Roger Garcia from One Incubator in downtown Laredo. How's it going, Roger?
It's going good. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. So we're excited about season 2 because we're actually incorporating a podcast feature.
Very cool.
So all this is going to be available on podcast to our viewing and now listening audience. So
nice.
So I don't know, are you a podcaster at all?
Yeah, I used to like podcasts, just listening to on the road. It's a little easier rather than watching a video and driving. So I think that'll be good.
I agree. That's always good when you're on the go, is to be able to listen.
Yeah.
It works with so many different platforms and so many different topics.
Yeah, and it's good as like a conversation too, so we can just kind of smoothly, whatever we feel like discussing today.
Yeah, nobody on our podcast is really going to care what my hair looks like today.
That's true.
I know. All right. So let's talk about MileOne.
Yeah.
You guys have been open for a little while now.
Yeah, we opened mid-December, so we just got to announce it. Merry Christmas to Laredo. Here's a brand new incubator. And really it's for the hub of innovation. We're trying to kickstart all the innovation through business, entrepreneurship, and logistics, and it's going very well right now. There's a lot of interaction on there, and people are starting to want to interact with us to see how they can innovate their companies.
I know that's great. I know innovation, there's the being behind the curve concept, and you think of tech, innovation, all these other things. You think of Silicon Valley, right. Austin now locally in the state of Texas, but even Detroit is reinventing itself as an innovative community.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah, and it's not just the MileOne Incubator that makes Laredo innovative. I mean, we have so much binationalism that you don't see in other cities across the border, where everything we do here, I mentioned in the tagline Laredo, Texas, but really it's our one region of both Laredo and no Laredo. You guys had a binational event not that long ago. Right.
We had a really successful hackathon, collaborating with our counterparts in Mexico, which is Startup Mexico. They're a huge franchise throughout the country. We're fortunate to have one in Nuevo Laredo, and working so closely with them and the consul on both sides. Really, we had all the interaction, the mayors. So, I'm glad that there's so much support from the city and the partners on the technology and the innovation, and we were able to make it so successful.
Yeah, and the hackathon itself, I mean, and this is what technology, there's so many negative aspects of technology. You got these little zombie kids and things like that, the lack of being able to communicate and interact. And I think we might just be the last representation of the last generation that knows how to have a conversation. But your hackathon and the whole concept of hackathon and the plus side of technology is providing solutions, solving problems. And what were some of the problems that you guys focused on at the hackathon?
Right, so there was multiple parts to it, right? First we said, what are some of the problems that we're trying to face in the key industries? The next one will be in logistics and transportation, but here we focus on the civic side, which is, health, housing, education, culture, and arts. So we started with panels, 12 panelists at 3 different periods, talking about the issues that they see, possible solutions. And then over the weekend, we had the students from the university, from the high schools that know how to code, kind of figure out the technological component. And over the weekend, they came up with some solutions. They've noticed that it was a lot about awareness. So they're trying to build a structure that doesn't exist yet to really call APIs from all the different awareness of the companies and events that are going on, to bring it more easily for people to be aware of all the interaction.
Yeah. I mean, awareness is key, and I think that's a big part of what World Trade Wednesday is about, is awareness. Hey, these programs exist. Hey, did you know what was happening, here and now, and what Laredo's doing, and why we're the #1 port in North America, why we're such a vital organ, and not just this big trade industrial things, but these tangible results of what happens here in the city. Because the problem, the focus of your Bi-National Hackathon, arts and culture, education, health, I mean, those aren't unique components to Laredo. There's everybody in the world hopefully has some experience, whether good or bad, hopefully good in all that. So I'm glad to hear that event was a success. The Startup Mexico program is very interesting, and then again supporting that innovation and again solutions to problems making, ideally it would make life easier almost to an extremity, right? Yeah. I have my Amazon Echo. I am obsessed with it, where I was just traveling to Mexico City last week, and I was getting ready to go to a meeting, and I just wanted to be like, Alexa, what time is it? Because I didn't have my watch on yet. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's just terrible. But there's a lot of fun components to technology, and I know even you, as an entrepreneur, you have Extreme VR.
Right. Yeah.
And that's, again, one of those things that Laredo, we've got, I mean, tell me just a little smidgen about Extreme VR.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be a part of it and proud of it, really, because it's so innovative, and really it's not in San Antonio, it's not in Austin, which we see those as, the tech hubs, and you would think they naturally have something like this, but we were fortunate enough that Miguel Adana started this company, and we're just happy to take over, and his opportunities came up. But really the innovation behind it, the virtual reality, what it's going to bring to the next era, even in terms of trade and manufacturing, you can theoretically handle an entire plant in virtual reality from anywhere. From this side, controlling plants in Mexico, the potential is unlimited. It's really about the development that's coming. It's exciting to see. Yeah,
and also with the VR technology, I mean, you think of like security. There's scenarios, active shooter scenarios, that training situations that are capable through virtual reality. These training scenarios, and there's also. Right. Speaking of Miguel Adana, and he's with Singularity U, which we were so fortunate to have that for that little bit of time that he was here before he moved to New York.
Definitely.
But he had brought a doctor down talking about virtual reality in medicine.
Yeah, the surgeries.
Exactly, in surgery. So you think of...
They're already doing it too. It's not like some, fantasy. They're already doing it, trying it. Yeah.
And I bring up the Extreme VR because you have, these coding platforms and this whole emphasis on code, all these organizations that code,
right.
The hackathon, the One Incubator. And I think that it's just, there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of need. And I mean, Laredo is prime place to be that innovative hub.
Definitely.
We don't need that crowd of the hustle and bustle of Austin City.
Right.
We have
really
reasons to be innovative here.
You're totally right. I mean, really, it's about retaining that talent, because what we saw at the hackathon was that there is a lot of talent in the high schools to create things. They just leave to other places because maybe the job opportunities afterwards, there aren't the most creative projects in coding going on right now. But we're trying to jumpstart that. And the fact that you have the warehouse in the back too with the CNC is really cool. Collaborating with the university, that's what it takes for them to want to stay here and continue working on their projects. And I feel obliged to also or responsible for creating that innovation. Coding schools, boot camps, they can create VR games out of our Extreme VR. That's a component to retain them. And the MileOne is a big part of that too, where now you have a workshop of coding developers. I see that as the light manufacturing, really being able to manufacture applications out of an incubator that are applicable around the world. You download the app and you just change somebody's life right there. We can create that here, and we're starting to create it. It's very exciting for Laredo.
And that's great. Even just welding, there's robot assisted. A computer knowledge component. I mean, that's to me the most frustrating thing. Right out of high school, I took automotive technology. My career plan, I always wanted to work on, mechanic, diesel mechanic, all this other stuff. I never fully embraced it as a career path, but I'm not even good enough to really be a hobbyist at it. But I do love tools. I do love cars. And one of the things too there is that the frustration of an automotive technician to not have to be a computer assisted automotive technician. I mean, you go think of a mechanic and you put in a 50s, 60s, 70s even, and then you start getting into the modern era, and even now, and it's like, do they even use tools? It's like you just got to plug in this computer.
Yeah, exactly.
So you think of anything,
automatically does everything.
I read the other day about a welding application to have robotic assisted welding, and it's like, where's the fun in that? But it's just a different kind of fun, I guess. You get to be on the computer and code things and learn. But you mentioned the CNC machines. Those are computer aided drafting based machines, and so the more and more that we develop these technologies, these coding, these things like that, to the point where ideally kids would already know how to do it,
right.
Coming into middle school, high school, and things like that. But right now we're at a stage, we have a changing workforce. We have, just again, going back to the detachment from our reality to augmented or virtual reality.
Right.
One of the components
the shift is huge.
Yeah, one of the components at MileOne, it's a co-working space. It's not just a coding spot where you have all these techies in their beanbag chairs sucking down coffee, right?
Yeah,
there is that. No beanbag chairs yet. Yes, we love that. Yeah. But that's one of those shifts in the older generation to our generation to this new emerging generation.
Right.
But
the open space concept, that collaboration.
Concept, maybe it's a reassurance. Maybe there's, they need reassurance, but I think, that's kind of more the softening of our children that's coming around. They need extra reassurance, but also why there's so much success in Silicon Valley is these open workspaces, this co-working space to where I'm over here on my laptop, working on my proposal to my customer, and you're right here doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're coding, and I'm going to be like, hey, Roger, I'm gonna interrupt you here, but this is the whole point. Like, what do you think about this? And you, maybe not being related to my industry at all, you bring your unique perspective. So for an up and coming entrepreneur that might not, definitely nobody has all the answers, but that's still getting their footing and their confidence and learning about business in general, whether it's technology based or not, is gonna have that confidence in a co-working space to launch, again, business incubator. You're helping grow business.
Exactly. I mean, we're seeing it was really nice to see from the very beginning that the partnerships were created almost immediately. Within the first week, people were talking about, hey, what do you do? Oh, cool, we can partner up like this. We happen to just fit complementary services, and they started packaging together. And every week, there's maybe a new podcast, or let's do this new video together. And Luis's 13 West Media has really been involved with a lot of the partnerships too, and it's comforting to see that our city and our culture is this, at least in what we've seen at the MileOne. There's a lot of collaboration that they're willing to do and partner up quickly and just get things done. That environment of like you said, the confidence that it gives you to ask somebody and really just learn from everyone quickly, and it really accelerates your business and the confidence to continue growing. Sometimes through business you go through some hard stuff. Having that support system around you in a co-working space, and ourselves too, our resources, our mentors, the SPDC, the city, everyone really wanting you to succeed is such a great environment.
Well, that concludes our episode of World Trade Wednesday. If you want to see the unedited version through your ears, check out our podcast that we now established for season 2. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.